corporation. Well, the United States of America Corporation and their Articles of Incorporation, which you refer to as the Constitution, lays out what that corporation is going to do, which is to ensure domestic tranquility, the common defense, general welfare. And if you look at these different government programs, they're just following their corporate bylaws. And the preamble of the Constitution is really the executive summary, which lays that all out. And you can read it plain as day, where it says, "We, the people of the United States," which is a body of land, establish and ordain for the United States of America, which is a company, so they say what they're going to do. So they hired all you people to be corporations. When you're born, you pretty much get put right into their corporation as an employee, what they call you a citizen. And you have the right to use your autograph or signature, and I would do more research on the signature if I were you guys, because I've studied some information by David Wood Miller that says a signature actually invalidates a contract, and your autograph is what you want to use. So you can write your own promissory note. The Federal Reserve prints off promissory notes that you refer to as dollar bills. Those are really promissory notes. They're negotiable instruments in the form of a promissory note.
Now, one thing we got to say, the Federal Reserve, right, is totally independent of the government.
Correct. Totally independent. They're a private corporation that the so-called government, and, I always say United States of America Corporation, because government is actually just a mind control term. It means control mind. Mentis is Latin for mind, govern means control. They're a mind control corporation posing as, they've made us call them a government, which is, got people not realizing that they're a corporation. That's what they do. They switch out words for something else to make you believe it and see it in a certain way. There's no such thing as a government. Well, there is. It's called a mind control program, a psychological operations program, which is a part of the Department of the Defense of that very corporation. Corporations have departments. So, the Federal Reserve, like you said, is an independent corporation, too, working together with all of the other corporations that are posing as governments to distribute their currency as this slave talisman that they've got us hooked into. I mean, Jesus, if you look at movies and TV shows, it's all about bank robberies and stealing stuff so you can have money, and selling drugs so you can have money, and everybody's trying to do whatever they can to have as much of this fake fiat currency, and it's just destroying everything all around us. So, the Federal, and we're a corporation, so we can write the Federal Reserve writes promissory notes. They don't print money. Money in legal English is gold and silver. Everything else is a negotiable instrument. You have bank checks, money orders, wire transfers, and promissory notes. And Federal Reserve notes or dollar bills are promissory notes. You living souls who have been converted to citizens, which is everybody, you guys, we can all write our own promissory note that we can make, autograph, and tender for value to the bank. And the bank must accept it as legal tender, or they're committing a felony. And I've started doing this. I've already submitted $175 million in promissory notes to 16 different banks. And now people are hitting me up now after these shows for the template. And nobody's come knock on my door and said they're fraud. In fact, they won't. They shut the door on me, and they're like, no, we don't accept promissory notes. But I tell them, wait a second, Federal Reserve notes are promissory notes. And they go, well, we only accept theirs. And so that's misconduct in public office, which is a felony, because they're not supposed to do that. So I'm building a class action lawsuit for us all to get our value honored by the banks. And this will literally end poverty worldwide. It will put us all on equal financial standing once again.
Well, they need to do something, because I tell you, the Federal Reserve note you have, what do you think is actually a dollar? What do you think is actually going to be worth if the bubble burst? It's not going to be worth anything.
No, I know. And the last bubble that burst was the real estate market. Remember when the real estate market finally just exploded in around 2006?
Well, it's about ready to do the same thing again. I mean, you know what? They've done the same thing that they said they would never do again, right? Go out and give credit.
They lie a lot.
They lie. They give credit out to virtually. You don't even have to have a job. I known a couple people who went out and bought a house that have no income, but they got financing.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing the same thing, actually. Why not? Now's a good time to buy without planning on paying because no one's going to pay anyway. And I think there's probably going to be a debt forgiveness program that's going to have to go into effect because there's no way we're not going to be able to, I guess, survive as a nation this depression that we're sinking into currently, because I'm seeing it happen all around me, up and down the east coast of Florida. I mean, I drive all over the place around here. Businesses are closed. You know, it just is not looking healthy. It's just people are only shopping at Walmart and the Dollar Tree. Restaurants are closing. People are complaining. Service is poor. I see a lot of homeless people standing around with signs asking for money all over.
Yeah, and you know it's pretty bad when Walmart sends a big letter to the president basically telling the president what's going to happen to the economy, what Walmart will even have to do here because of the tariffs, you know, like raise prices because they can't absorb what's going on. And what it's going to do is hurt people. Then it's also going to cause, as sales slow, right? Well, that means people are going to start losing their jobs. What are we going to do? Hey, don't worry. We'll give them welfare, and we'll give them extra money because they don't have a job. We'll extend the unemployment because, you know, things will start getting bad. It's crazy. I mean, you know, and then they want to, the feds are going to, they actually are raising the interest rates, and now they're not even going to announce anymore when they're going to do it. They're just going to do it without telling the public. So I don't know. I got a funny feeling we're all screwed big time.
Yeah, I know. And I was thinking, I guess, what do you think they're going to do? So, you know, here's the thing. We see what's happening, and now there's always a reason why it happens. I mean, this is all by design. It's even said in the third part of Albert Pike's letter that at this point right here at the end of the global war on terror, it's supposed to leave us helpless and hopeless and broken and begging for anything that the government will give us as a solution. And that's when they're going to destroy Christianity and Islam. They're in the middle of destroying both those. They're pulling the Bible out of everywhere, no more prayer. So this systematically, you have to read Albert Pike's letter. Just type it into Google, and it explains exactly what we're going through. And this letter is like, you know, it's like 100 and almost 200 years old. So we're in the middle of becoming a hopeless, depressed, you know, in need of salvation country, really a world. And so the Christianity and Muslims going to go away, and they're going to come out with they're going to use the Luciferian doctrine. And I believe I was wondering, you know, what is the Luciferian doctrine? That's the thing. What are they going to come out and tell us? And I've started finding out information that, like Elon Musk, the guy who owns Tesla, brilliant guy. People respect him. He speaks with scientists. He's saying that here's his quote: "There is a 1 in billions chance that we are living in base reality." So the Luciferian doctrine might actually be the revelation that we are living in some type of a computer simulation, and that we're all just made of light. And because Lucifer is the light bearer, this might be what the Luciferian doctrine is all about. But if that doesn't mean that we don't preclude us from having a soul, I think that we are a soul having this apparent physical experience. And then we might go back to base reality when we drop our avatar body here from this program. So if you're, you know, that's where I think this is all headed. And I think this alien invasion is just a part of the program.
Well, I really think that, you know, let's face it, okay? I really think that the space program, the space defense, whatever you want to call it, has been going on since the 50s. I think it's got to a point now with all the UFOs being sighted. You can't. You gotta break it the news slowly to the population because they won't be able to handle it. But it's everything is a conspiracy from the standpoint they don't want anybody to know anything. Now I got one more thing I'm really upset. Now Bill Crosby, right? Now he belongs in jail for what he did. Okay. He already admitted what he did, and he belongs in jail. But then, you know what? Our legal system in this country is so corrupt and so bad that another guy, right, rapes a 5-year-old girl, right, and gets 90 days home arrest.
Jesus.
Okay, and it's not just another one. There was a couple other cases here in the last week or so. It's come up where they did something far worse, than what Bill Crosby did, and they got a slap on their hand. Now here he's 81 years old. I mean, he's old. He's blind. He's in poor health. They what they did is they wanted to make an example of the guy, and burn him as much as they could, because he's done a lot to help the blacks. He's done a lot to help the arts.
Serial rapist. That guy's beyond curable. He was a serial rapist, basically, Bill Cosby, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he, in his mind, he didn't think he was doing anything wrong. He got the girls to go along, either made him pass out or got him high or whatever he did. But you know what? Justice should be the same in Nebraska as it is in Montezuma. I mean, for these crimes. I mean, that's what I'm fed up. That's why I'm saying the government is not. It's no justice for all. There's none.
See, I think that's why prostitution should be legal, because then Bill Cosby wouldn't have to do that. He had plenty of money. He could have just gone and gotten prostitutes. I don't know. That's just sick, I think everybody should just move to Las Vegas, Nevada, and that's where they should put all those pedophiles or rapists who need to drug women. Just send them where prostitution is, so they can just pay for it and they don't have to hurt people.
Yeah.
But I think Bill Cosby's a serial rapist, and really he should have gone to jail for life or been castrated or something, because he's that's sick. I mean, think about his mindset and how evil he has to be to intentionally do this. I think he did it for years, and there were like dozens of women coming out saying that he did this and that he was drugging them and molesting them and raping them. And that's premeditated. That's, vicious and wicked, and there's no good in that, period. That's a cold, dark-hearted being right there, who should just be taken off the streets and locked away for good. That's how I feel about Bill Cosby.
Yeah, I feel that he belongs where he's at. But then what I'm saying is these other guys, raping a 5-year-old girl and getting 90 days home arrest.
Yeah, I should go to jail too. Yeah, that's terrible.
He should be in jail to the day he dies. I don't understand the laws in this country. As Michael W. Hall explained to you a little bit about how laws are, what is real and what isn't real. But you know what? Unless you got a lot of money, and I mean you and have a lot of money, then you could probably get out of a lot of serious crimes. I mean, if Bill Crosby would have had the right type of attorney, okay, and started doing what you talk about doing about under how the court systems and all this stuff work, he probably could have walked away because they couldn't have charged him.
Yeah, my philosophy on the law is that if you physically hurt another human being, that you got to take responsibility for that. Like, people should be punished for physically hurting or taking advantage of, or raping, molesting, punching, fighting, killing. That should all be, those kinds of people should just be removed from society, I feel. But on the other side of the law is the whole commercial side with selling whatever you want to sell, even if it's yourself, or stealing, or things that don't cause physical harm to another person. Those are pretty much, in my book, like statutes, and there's got to be and they're manufactured, because a lot of the theft and people selling things that the government's saying they can't sell is because of this manufactured poverty, because everyone's trying to earn these Federal Reserve promissory notes. And so I kind of think that we're in this trap. I think violent criminals should be taken away and just removed, but these commercial laws in this fiat currency system is really causing a lot of people to be incarcerated that really aren't hurting anybody. There's no real victim there. If you're, like, for instance, driving without a license, if we're required to have a license to travel, then that makes us slaves. And if we're jailed for it, that's sick.
Well, technically, when I was talking to Michael all about this. Technically, you don't even need a license. That is a farce right there. There should, under the laws and